Yes, I think we're online. Hello and welcome everybody out there. I'm very excited to have you on board. John and I will have this time a live coaching. John P. Morgan is, in my opinion, the best coach I've ever experienced, to be honest. I don't know whether he's going to blush about that. And he's
smiling at least.
That's perfect. And what the idea is today that John P. Morgan is going to coach me for 1 hour. So we're going to straight head into that. And during the time of coaching, normally what happens with the people who are watching, with the people out there with you guys, is that there's going to be questions emerging out of the coaching. So I'm going to try to be as open as possible with everything. So we're going to dive into the topic of authentic leadership. And if there is something that really comes up for you out there, just post it in the chat box on the right side. And we'll have Sina somewhere in the online universe that's going to collect. She's going to collect all the questions. So we're going to answer all of your questions. So this is a webinar. The most important part about it is that you interact with us guys. And yeah, so we get the most value for you guys out there. Yeah, so a few words about John P. Morgan. So full disclosure, I'm working with John. He's my coach. We have a group of 4 guys. Is that right? 4 guys, I think.
Yeah.
And John, and we have this kind of very powerful group coaching experience where he basically helps us to become, or helps us to be the leaders that we're deep inside already are, but sometimes we're not showing up as such. And so I thought authentic leadership is like the perfect thing to do. You've been at the Lifestyle Design Convention, the event that I'm organizing in January 16th and 17th next year. So you guys should really sign up for that. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later. You've been a speaker, and you're one of the few speakers that is actually coming back again, because we chose to have you, and you were so kind to show up as well, or you will show up as well. So yeah, let's dive right into it. Just to be sure, guys, on the right side, please let us know if you can see us, if everything is working for you. So we have no technical difficulties. I've seen a few people already attending. We have now 12 people that are showing up. So please let us know if you can see us in the screen with a short chat message. Yeah, it seems to work. So perfect. Very good. All right. How should we start this, John?
What would you love to create?
So I've been running to this webinar right now, like eating a kebab on the way, like arriving before this computer, like 3 minutes before we had the meeting, basically to discuss what we're gonna do during those 60 minutes. And this is like very symptomatic for me. So what I seem to be doing a lot of times is I fill my day, and I only feel comfortable when my day is really full, or like I only feel like I'm doing the right thing, not comfortable, but the right thing if my day is really, really full. And what happens through that is, and there we come back to the topic, what we talk about today, is that I oftentimes don't spend the time with my team from the Lifestyle Design Convention that I actually want, or I don't give them the attention. I just shoot like quick texts, or I'm not really checking in with my team. So that's kind of the thing that I seem to be doing.
So what would you love to create when all that is the case?
I've seen a video today from a woman, I don't remember her name, but she said that her calendar seems to have always time, and she just gets miraculously the stuff always done that has to get done. And I was like, oh, dude, is that possible? So I would really, there's the kebab. I would really like to create a way of me being, not just running all the time, but much rather like feeling like I have more than enough time for all the stuff that is really important to me.
So how do you create the opposite of that now? Well, I'm getting some echo.
Okay, let me see. I probably plugged in on the wrong plug. There we go. So I'm creating the opposite by just since I've started the convention, I have around probably 2 to 3 people a day asking for Skype conversations with me. And that's just one thing. And there I just accept all of them all the time.
What else?
Whenever there is a moment where I actually feel like there would be space, I fill that space with stuff that makes me feel busy. Mm-hmm. So whenever I have space, I always feel bad about it. Like I feel I should be doing something.
Give an example of how you fill it. How do you, if there was some space, how would you fill it with stuff that makes you feel busy?
So let's say I'm on the train just before, when I was on the train coming back to Luzerne. I was like, oh yeah, I have 20 minutes. I should really check my inbox. I should really check my Facebook messages. I should really answer all my WhatsApp messages and calls. And also watch like a YouTube clip that I watch every day or something. So it's like different kind of things that I do.
What would be your biggest worry if you did have space? You did leave space, if you could say.
That I miss out on being productive, which is funny because I'm not when I'm always in busy mode, but I feel like I'm missing out on valuable time that I could use to answer something, or like also be able to answer everybody so I can please everybody, because I really should answer everybody. Yeah.
Has that served you up until now?
No, not at all. I'm feeling what I feel oftentimes. So I've been now with my family for a few days away and did some wellness, and we had a coaching call yesterday, right? And I felt very grounded. And so what I've seen is this pattern of me just like charging up again on stress. It's like, so in the morning, what I did is I don't have my phone anymore in my bedroom. Yeah. So what I have it somewhere else, and I have an iPod that has no online connection, so I can at least not like check my Facebook in the morning. But that was always like my first thing. So I'm not doing that this much anymore. But already when I go, like, it's stupid, but already when I go on the toilet, I'm like maybe watching a YouTube clip instead of just like starting the day. And then obviously when I go to I already wake up really close to the moment where I have to take some action, like this morning going to the training. So I'm really I'm really, with everything, I plan it extremely close.
Yeah, I know, I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, you start our coaching calls where you're on the phone, like walking through the city, and then at the end of the coaching call, you're like off walking
You
through the
didn't
city.
like
Like there's,
that, yeah. Yeah.
well, it's just I don't actually. It's kind of funny, but
Yeah, it's a
it's just
symptom of
clear that
me.
like everything is like touching,
Yeah.
and nothing ever starts and ends when it's supposed to, so everything bleeds into each other.
Yeah.
And so a certain percentage of everything you're doing is distracted because it's
You-
overlapped.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I do
just
10
at the
times.
edges, you're having less effectiveness.
Yeah, so I do 10 times less effect because I feel like somehow I have to manage the convention. And at the same time, how about I do some conceptual work for the company I work with? And at the same time, also like answering my phone. So
Yeah.
it's like what
So
I preach, I'm not really doing. It's like,
so the symptom is clear, I get it. But
yeah,
my question, my curiosity is, what is like my sense is that you're doing that because, and you kind of talked about it already, because you have a belief that it serves you in some way.
yeah.
And so my sense is like, what is the worry? What is the concern that if you didn't do that, if you didn't live within that way, what are you worried would happen if you didn't plan things so close and if you started leaving space between things? If you're honest, what are you worried would happen?
Um, I would be certainly first of all worried that I wouldn't be able to finish all the tasks that I have.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, what else?
I will worry that, or I'm worrying sometimes that I make people angry by not answering their texts or writing too short answers on some stuff.
Hmm.
So by creating space, I could answer even less people.
Right. You wouldn't get back to everybody or da da da
Mhm.
or not. Yeah. What else?
Like something popped up on the right side, and for some reason I looked at it. Florian wrote like, "What would happen if you wouldn't do anything? Like, would happen if you would stop doing?" And I think I'm afraid of that. Like
Yeah, I
that
know.
moment when I'm actually quote unquote unproductive. Um, I can, when I allow myself to stop, um, there is a lot of painful experiences coming.
Hmm.
Yeah, feels right. A lot of um, I can feel how loud it is in my head when I'm not doing anything, or not when I'm stopping actually from taking action and just sit, or just be like.
So what are you afraid would happen if you could hear all the noise in your head?
Well, I'm afraid of that maybe there are other things that I want to pursue too, apart from the convention, and that I really have to push now hard to like kind of keep myself busy to make this convention a great event. And I shouldn't focus on anything else. And by keeping myself busy, I don't open up that space.
Mm. My sense is you just don't trust yourself to not have something to do.
I don't trust myself to not have something to do. I don't get that. What do you mean by that?
Like if you had space and you didn't have something you had to do, my sense is that you're afraid you'd get off track, you'd spiral, you'd spin out, you'd lose your energy, motivation, be distracted,
Yeah.
not safe to not have something to do.
And I also, when I don't do something, I don't feel worthy. in some weird way.
Mm.
Yeah. Because I'm only worthy if I'm like doing stuff and taking action and stuff like that.
I'm only worthy if I'm taking action. I'm safe from thoughts and all the stuff in my head if I'm taking action.
Yeah.
Which means that all of your action you're taking is infused with that avoidance. It's like the main ingredient in your action is fear. When
Yeah.
it's acted on for that reason, that's your why.
Yeah.
All right, team, we've got a meeting. The secret reason is because I'm afraid if I don't have a meeting right now, then I'm gonna spin out, or it means I'm not worthy. So you ready? It's like that's the subtext
Yeah.
to your why. It's not the only why, but it's there.
Yeah, it's definitely there, and it keeps the convention, and it keeps everything that I do from growing, actually,
Yeah, show me
ironically.
how.
Right?
Tell me how. How does it happen? Like, what is your gut? Like, how does it influence your presence and the impact that you have as a leader?
Well, there are no new ideas coming. If I'm like constantly taking action, there is not like the. So I had a very, very, in my point of view, a very great idea, or a few great ideas actually, when I was doing nothing. And I know that, like, that the best ideas come when you're, but I don't allow myself that space often. So the great ideas are not able to come up. Like the new thinking, right? The fresh new thoughts, they're not coming up when I'm just like always in busy, busy, busy mode. Um, and I actually stopped myself from doing anything but like just relaxing and being, and like not even like touching the phone. And what happened then is like I woke up, and because I've broken that cycle, kind of like at looking at my phone or like going into busy mode right away. I had like amazing ideas in the morning, and I just like wrote them down, ta, 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 ta. And that was really, really, that was really cool. And I don't do that normally.
So your strategy has been to always be doing something,
Oh yes.
right? So, and what we're talking about here is at least an intellectual awareness that like having time to do nothing is actually quite valuable. What if doing nothing was something?
That was actually a thought that I had, to to really my role as a leader, like redefine it also in the sense that I take space. And like, because what I found is when I actually tell my team, um, well, I'm gonna step away, they're like, first of all, more productive because I'm not in the way, which is sometimes the case, right? Because I have a strong presence. And second of all, what's also happening is like they completely support it. They actually appreciate me taking the space, and they understand that.
So what if doing
Yeah.
nothing was doing something? And what if even more than that? What if as a leader, doing nothing was the most impactful thing that you could do? How much nothing could you fit into your life? How much, no, not how much could you fit in, right? I'm getting pulled in because I heard you say I would take time. Fuck that. Fuck taking, fuck fitting it in. If it was the most important thing, where would you create time for nothing as the most important thing for you to be doing?
What popped up for me is, first of all, meditation again,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
every morning.
FYI, meditation is not nothing.
Oh
That's
yeah.
something.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't see it as nothing. Yeah.
So it doesn't, that's not an answer to the question then. I'm asking you if
All
creating
right.
time for nothing, not something that's kind of like similar or energetically, like actually doing nothing, having pure white space in your calendar where there's nothing you're committed to doing, and there's nothing that you do because you think you have to or you should, but it's just a place where you do nothing. It doesn't mean you sit, but there's no have to, should, must, need to, no commitment. But it's the kind of space where ideas come and insight and reflection happens.
So if what popped into my head is 1 day a week, like a complete day, to have like a really simply 1 day that is sacred, where I don't plan in anything.
What day?
Wow, that's awesome. That would be really
The Sabbath.
awesome. It could
Isn't
also.
that what Saturday means? Like the sacred day or something?
I have no idea, but probably.
What day feels good to hold sacred?
I like a day during the week that I block out, because it's like it's the normal life. So if I have like an amazing idea or something, I can completely immerse myself in it, without like the weekend holding back kind of
For
things.
sure. What day feels good?
So what I will do in the next few weeks is like I will
Block a day out.
block a day out. Yeah, it's not necessarily a day in the next few weeks, and then I could imagine a Friday would be awesome. Yeah.
So I love the idea of a day because it oscillates you throughout the week.
Yeah.
And you could go both ways. You go on a bigger scale. Every year I take a month off. Every month I take a week off, as you know I do.
Mm-hmm.
And but you can go even smaller. Within a day. What if every single day there was time in the day that you made sure you did nothing, because doing nothing was the something that had the most impact on your leadership?
What just came up for me is I'm actually pretty afraid,
Yeah, I
like, of
know.
having that of having that
That's
time.
why I'm taking you to the focus
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
There's different ways of looking at it. Either it's an hour in a day or it's a space between things. Like, for example, when I'm coaching, I will always have 30 minutes of nothing between my coaching calls.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing goes in there. And it's not for any other reason other than, for me, likewise, doing nothing is the most important thing that I can do. How much nothing would you have to put between things to not risk them overlapping and impacting the effectiveness?
Yeah, at least half an hour.
Mm.
When I take a walk or a break or nothingness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could imagine that actually for me it's, yeah, like just sitting on a chair would be kind of in the in
Doesn't
between
mean that
time
you
not a
don't
very
do, yeah.
productive thing, but like it would be more like taking like a cup of coffee, sitting and like just
Yeah.
being, or like taking a stroll around the corner. I don't know. That's
The thing is that it's not about like you have to sit there and actually do nothing. It's having nothing that you're committed to doing, nothing that you have to do.
mm-hmm.
And then allowing whatever is in that moment for you to emerge and act on that. Doesn't mean don't be in action. We're talking right now about this imaginary stuff you're carrying around on your shoulders, which are your commitments and your beliefs in that you have
Yeah.
to respond to everybody, you have to be the nice guy, make sure you get back to every message. All of that stuff that's weighing on you, that's the something we're taking off and leaving the space for nothing. You might get off a call or get off a meeting or whatever and have 30-minute space and maybe sitting there, you know what? I really want to email this person and tell them this. And that comes from inside. And then you go and you act and you do that, which is different than like, oh man, I have to, I'm afraid, therefore I should. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, because what's happening now is I have the same, like, sometimes that intuition comes up, but it's during time that I committed for doing other things.
And you never
So
have
I'm,
time to get to it.
yeah, so I feel like I'm productive and I don't get actually the stuff done that I set as a goal for the day.
Yeah.
Um,
You're also measuring your productivity based on um, action instead of impact. What I mean by that is how much time did I do doing stuff? How many boxes did I tick? Is just like the action. Whereas the impact is what was the result or impact of me completing that action in the world. So you might do 100 different things and none of that really even move the world 1 inch. Or you might do one thing that moves a whole mountain. And to be able to tell the difference between those, that's the stuff that you can't do that when you're running from one thing to the next, right? You do
mm.
that in the space. Do you know what a washer is?
Washer?
Yeah, it's like an American English for when you put a bolt in something and you put a nut in the bottom and you twist them together. It's just this little round disc that you put in before the bolt,
Ah,
and
yeah.
then yeah, that's a washer. It's a spacer. You can get rubber ones, plastic ones, and they can just put some space. That's what I see for you, is you putting washers between everything, just some space, just to protect.
Yeah, I'm thinking of, like, what if I have great thoughts while I'm doing something else? I had today, like, I did some project work and then I had, like, some really good thoughts, like, or some really good
So how do you
ideas.
capture those?
No, I did it. I did them.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm just like, I'm then going
And
for
so
that.
you got distracted from that
Oh
thing to the next
yeah,
thing.
yeah. And then I do the next thing, and then like I know
Kind
what
of
to
like we're
do.
doing right now. Kind of like we're doing right now. It's like from the spacers, but there's this other thing too that I have going on.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's how my thought system works a lot of times.
yeah. So it's cool. So the thing is to capture that, hold it, finish this thread, and then come back to it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not a rule. If there's something that's massively inspiring, and you have this incredible creative genius coming through you, then go with it. But check in, like how much does that need to be handled right now, or can I come back to it?
Again, space. Like just stopping myself really quickly before I just go. Like,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, man. I kind of want to answer a few questions of the
If
people.
there's questions, let's dive in. That's fine.
Yeah. Um, so, John, do you see the time between the coachings to reflect the coachings, or really a nothing time for you?
I don't
That
have
was
any
a
rules about what that time is to be used for.
okay.
Yeah, I'm open to using it for anything, but I don't have any rules for it. Sometimes it even gets used because the coaching call goes over a bit, but it's a buffer where I have freedom. That's the point. Otherwise, I am a slave to time as opposed to the master of it. We create. People think, oh, I don't have time. It's like you create everything. Time is just a made-up construct. You create your life as stacked, like tap, 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 or you create your life with space. I used to create it stacked, so I get it. But now I create it with so much space, and I've become like really, I guess you could say, religious about that. Like I will not. If somebody looked at my calendar and is like, hey, do you have time? Do you have 20 minutes for a call? And they see a bunch of 30-minute gaps in my calendar, I'll be like, no, I don't have time. But yeah, but you got, no, I don't have time. I don't even see that. Like it doesn't register as time for me that's available to give. It's just that is so important. So yeah. How does that feel? I heard you hearing that in two different ways. One as an answer and one for yourself.
Yeah, for me, it was like just being true to my needs, or like
Mm.
like saying what I want is like a big one,
How is that a
especially.
gift as a leader?
Well, first of all, it it is, if people feel that you're true and you're really authentic, then it's easier for them to grab you, you know. So they're not all, he's not a people pleaser, so it's easier for them to know what he actually said, he also meant that.
Hmm.
So
How
um
else?
if I don't, I am gonna be fucked sooner or later. Like I'm
Just a
just,
time thing.
I'm
Yeah.
not, I'm not gonna, yeah, I'm not, I will not create, or I'm not gonna help the vision if I don't, if I'm not true to what I actually want. It's not gonna
Here,
happen.
that's spot on. That's what we've been talking about too, right? But here's another piece that I see it being such a gift when you're willing to stand for what you want, what your needs are, what you would love to create for yourself. Your willingness to do that gives other permission, gives other people permission to do that, inspires them to be able to do that. It transfers into them the willingness to do that.
Yeah, it's inspiring for others. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's enabling for others. It's like
Yeah.
even it's not just like intellectually that feels good. It's like I get to do that too because I get that it's okay because you're doing it.
Yeah. And that
So
is
there's a
so,
way that that will impact your leadership. You're on your team, and your team showing up that way will impact the entire event.
yeah.
And then everybody that comes to the event will get a little piece of that because you were willing to do it.
Yeah.
And they'll be a little bit more able to design their lifestyle and their life because you made a choice to today, back in December. And this is how it works. Your willingness to do that is how the people that come to the convention will be able to design their lives, not because of the insight, but because of your willingness directly.
Yeah. There has been another question. Do you feel you have an effect on the people you work with as a leader by always keeping you busy? I would be interested in who asked that question. I think Jonas. Yeah, Jonas asked that. Yes, I feel so. I feel like when I give the impression or am busy all the time, I create a team that is busy all the time.
Mm.
So they can be less struck by great ideas or inspiring stuff that is new, fresh thinking if I don't have it. So yes, I absolutely believe that it has a uh, strong effect on my team as well. Also, if I don't, if, for example, don't take the space for really tuning in and like checking in with them, like they will also do it, like the team will also themselves not check in with each other so much. That's another thing that I'm like kind of worried, because I feel like my team is extremely close, like they're very very open and they check in with each other, which is beautiful. And at the same time I sometimes feel this distance between me and the rest of the team, by um, just because I feel I'm busy. And the second thing is what I also realize is because I think I have the responsibility for the team, so I have to keep the distance, which is strange and not really. And what came out of it, and I'm saying this to the audience more as like a big learning for me, was like when I felt I was tired and I didn't see the vision for some time, when I had a really low, um, I was thinking about whether I should communicate that with the team or not, or whether I should be like strong and all that stuff. And that's what I wrote in the description of the webinar. And what I realized is by me actually showing up and saying I'm actually quite tired and I'm not seeing the vision right now, they then showed up and showed me the vision. And it's like, also like, this was my mind fuck. It's like, I always saw myself of the one that has to keep the vision in mind. And when you have such a great team as I have, it's like, I don't have to do that even all the time. Even though if I felt it's like my primary purpose to be in this organization and this team is to show the vision to others, even though it's like ridiculous because it's our vision. We worked that out together. And what I've seen is, if I don't see it and I'm open about it, I'm not trying to like stay strong and stay cool and love it, but like actually say like, right now I don't see it. They came up, which was amazing. I need to make them. I need to even more. I do it, but I can do it even more to let them shine. Yeah, feels good.
Are you okay with it looking like your team is doing more than you are on the outside?
No, not yet.
I remember when I was used to develop houses and property, and I remember once when I pulled up to one of the job sites, and all the people were working, the carpenters, electricians, everybody was working. There's like 10 people there, and I was just sitting there drinking a coffee, and I'm just like, the part of me was like, oh shit, I don't look like I'm doing anything. I should make a phone call or something, or I should leave. And it's like, over the years, I really got a sense though that like me being there was thinking about the deal and the money and how this was going to do the business side of it was so fundamental, because if I didn't do that, then none of them would have work. And I got a sense after a while of like, you know, getting to know these guys and the money that I was paying them, or helping them take care of their family and do all the beautiful things in their life. And it was so important that I was okay with not looking like I was doing something, so that I could actually do the thing that was most valuable in creating the work for them. So I had to be willing for it to not look like I was doing something. And that's just in my head too, by the way, just like it's just in yours. Your team might not actually think that you're not doing anything when you think it looks like you're not doing anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's like, I spent a lot of time being worried about looking very busy.
Yeah.
Like also like from my corporate background and like the jobs that I had in the past, it like trains you, right? It really, or I train myself because it seemed a good idea at the time to look very busy and like look like I'm doing something all the time, but it uses up so much energy that like I feel that's one of the reasons actually why I really enjoy working with the team I have right now. I don't feel like I pretend doing, well, actually sometimes I do. That's not true. Sometimes I do, mostly not, but it feels much less. And it's so beautiful about building something your own or with a team where you can be open and authentic and vulnerable. Is like you don't spend time on this little bullshit anymore, which uses a fuckload of time. Yeah.
Are you willing to give up caring about what it looks like at all?
Not yet.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Because until you are, then you're serving it.
Yeah.
You're serving what it looks like. What's behind that? Why not?
What I want to say is I'm on the way. I can feel that I'm doing it less, but I still feel like I'm attached to the idea of making a good impression.
Yeah.
It's like
what's the trade-off? What are you also choosing when you
stress?
And let's stay in the context. There's so many things we can talk about. I want to stay in the context of your impact as a leader.
Yeah.
What are you choosing in the context of your impact as a leader when you choose to keep your concern with how you're perceived?
Yeah.
What impact do you have?
Well, first of all, I give that on to my team. So the probability of them showing up in an inauthentic way is also very high.
But more specifically, how would they show up?
They will also in situations show up, like, for example, when there is a task to be done. No, I'm very busy, when they actually are not.
Right.
Instead
They'll
of
try to
saying,
make it look like they're busy too.
yeah, instead of saying I don't want to do this, you know, like that would be also completely fine. But they're actually probably some stuff that they would like to do because they trained themselves, they will probably not do it. Does that
Right.
sound confusing? Yeah.
No, it's clear.
Yeah.
How will that impact the event, lifestyle design convention?
Well, it wouldn't, first of all, on the meta level, it wouldn't serve our main purpose, which is our main vision, which is to create a world where authenticity is the status quo.
Mm.
It wouldn't, it would spread out into the audience because they could feel that feeling too of inauthentic.
How would they be impacted by that? What would they take with them? What would change for them if they came and that was spreading out through the audience?
They wouldn't open up so much. Probably specifically like a few corporate people would feel reinforced in their reality of like seeming busy is a good idea to to survive but not to thrive. Yeah, we will be just less productive in helping people during the event because our team starts to like look busy and try to make a good impression on people.
Everybody's running around.
Yeah.
And I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
And so everybody's like chaotic and crazy, just like you are at your corporate job. This is just a fact of life. It's the only way it is. But yeah, we can design our own life. Believe me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't have time right now though. So come to the next convention. We'll work on it.
Yeah, we would spend less time with interacting with people, like helping them, because we feel we need to make the event look good and stuff like that. Yeah. That's why I need space during this event. More space than last time.
Just you? Or everybody?
Yeah, we need space between the sessions. It's what we're actually already doing, kind of, to have people connect with each other without any quote unquote distraction of a speech and like a specific purpose. And so like we want to, I imagine, yes, we as a team, we want to take it slower in the sense that there is more time for people to connect with each other on their own terms. Instead of just having speech after speech after speech after speech, and then people go home and say it's an amazing event, but I didn't get to know anybody, which is actually our main purpose of this event, is to connect change makers after the event, so they create amazing things. Yes.
So all the space that you are creating for yourself in your life and for yourself in the convention, creating that for your team is creating it for the convention, which is creating it for the audience members, which is giving them the ability and permission to create it in their life. The experience of creating it there creates it for them in their life too.
Mm.
This is the difference between talking about something and being it. And so I took you on this little journey about the impact of your choice to be, of your, I don't know if it was a choice, you being unwilling to put perception aside. There's an impact. Everything that you do, your leadership is your impact, right? And whether it's your choice to choose to step into for the next 2 months, I am not going to concern myself with perception because I'm choosing to not have my unwillingness to negatively impact those few corporate people that come to our event in this specific way. And all the other ways that we can't even imagine, but will be there. This isn't about bearing weight down on you and giving you, like, putting you under pressure and be like, hey, you better be the number one most pure, awesome person, so because otherwise it's your fault and everybody doesn't get the lifestyle they want. It's not about that. It's about pointing to the opportunity you have as a leader.
No, not at all. It's like potential. I know we're way down the road. I mean, the last year's event was one of the most authentic, vulnerable experiences I've personally ever had in my life. So I'm very confident we're gonna have it even more amazing. But I can see that there is potential. There is
So let me
still,
challenge you a little bit, Kai.
yeah.
I can see that we're going to have it even more amazing. I'm
Yeah.
confident we're going to have it all amazing. What I would like to invite you right now to do is to make a commitment to everybody watching, to everybody that watches this live, and to everybody that's watching this in the recorded version, and to your team, and to me, because I'm going to be there. I want to challenge you to make some commitments in who you are going to be for the next 2 months, or the next however many weeks it is between now and the convention, as the path to making it more awesome. Not what you're going to do or what you're going to say to your team or what new
Mhm.
structures you're going to create. I want to know what the commitment and who you're going to be between now and then, as a leader, as a man.
I'm gonna be a leader who will, in being. Um, so what came to my mind, what I'm committed to do is taking one day a week, like very specifically, taking that one day to create space.
Yeah, get it. I don't want to know what you're committed to doing right now. That stuff's
Yeah,
awesome,
yeah.
very important, and I'm really curious about who you're committed to being. Who and what are you committed to being as a leader? That's you leaning into your edge, you challenging yourself a bit more, you stepping up, you taking risk.
Me taking risk as a leader. What I'm committed of doing is being less the founder
Hmm.
of the convention, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It's being less of the founder of the lifestyle design convention because that makes me feel uncomfortable.
Hmm. Fine. Look back over the conversation we've had over the past 45 minutes, though. What are you going to be that emerges from the insights in the conversation we've had around time, around perception,
I'm gonna
around
be
space?
I'm gonna be relaxed and balanced.
Try and finish this sentence. I am a leader who. Then you can put a doing in there if you want,
I'm a
but it's
leader who
coming from the
is
I amness.
I'm a leader who is loving, who is caring, feels good.
Mm. I'm a leader who takes a day off every week.
Yeah. I'm a leader who takes off a day every week and who is listening to his body and what that body tells me to my body. I'm gonna listen to that certainly.
Are you a leader who creates space? Are you willing to be a leader who creates space?
I don't feel that right now. The word space. I simply don't feel it. I feel more
What's
care and
that word
loving.
mean for you?
I feel I want to be a leader who creates connection,
Mm.
and that I want to be a leader. I'm gonna be a leader who creates the space for this connection to happen.
Creates a space for connection.
Hmm.
So I'm like challenging you a bit here because your go-to state with your I am a leader who statements are the things that you're already comfortable being and you already value. And I want to have you look directly at the things that you're resisting, which is putting space between things, not thinking you have to get everything done, focusing on just the things that are the most high impact, putting serving and the impact that you create as a leader on the people at the convention above how you're perceived specifically as doing, and busy versus the impact that you know you're having in your heart. And I would imagine some people watching this call and people that watch the recording will want to know that now that you've identified these places where you are having impact on people that come to the convention, where are you willing to make commitments to lean into your edge between now and then?
I'm gonna be a leader, and I will be a leader who values serving over making a good impression.
Even if that means not looking busy?
Even if that means looking bad. Yeah. That's a hard one.
Yeah. And I also heard it a little, like if we go back and listen to the recording, you'll see it was, I will be a leader. I want to pull you right into the present moment and not talk about an intention, but a commitment.
I'm a leader who chooses service first, even if I make, I'm a leader who chooses service first, serving first.
Nice catch. That's complete.
I want to get a few questions from the audience as well, if that's okay for you.
Yeah,
thank you, John. Florian asked, do we really have to lead, or is it enough to facilitate?
Is that a question to you or to anybody?
I think at Kai means that, yeah, I think it's from, yeah. Do we really have to lead, or is it enough to facilitate? I imagine that if you have a vision and that vision is defined, it's a hard one. I think as a leader, sometimes you're a facilitator and sometimes not. So I think a facilitator is a part of the role as a leader.
Yeah, sure.
And not the other way around. Yeah.
I also would add on to that, we're always leading. I think that's what I was pointing to with you.
Yeah.
Whether we're being in our love or in our fear, in our power or in our weakness, we're always leading, we're always having impact. We typically use the word leader to talk about somebody who's leading with powerful from love and people are following them. But there's also leaders that lead from fear and people follow them out of the fear. So you're always leading. And if somebody's not following, you're still leading. You're leading with, get away from me, So it's all related.
Then Dori asked, Kai, why do you need to make the event look good? Is it about looking good? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, it's about trying to make a good impression and stuff like that sometimes. And it's like, it's a spectrum. So I feel like the big part I really want to, when I'm connected with my vision, then it's from a place of serving. And when I'm not connected with serving, then it's more about like, oh no, I need to manage this and I need to manage that. And sometimes I'm in it, sometimes I'm out of it. It's like, it's the way it is, yeah. Jonas, how would you define authenticity for you right now? To go on, I think we can answer that both. I love what we discussed in the coaching ones with you, John. It's authenticity for me is being open, even in situations when it's uncomfortable, but not only that, but also saying what you want and doing what you want. So before, for me, it was really like just being open and vulnerable, which is an extremely important, courageous, hard thing to do, but it's only a part of the whole being yourself. It's also really saying what you actually want and also doing what you want. What is it for you?
I've been thinking lately about, in American movies, when people go to court and they put their hand on the Bible and they put their other hand up and say, "Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?" What I've realized is that it's quite an awesome statement. Do I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And I think that piece, the whole truth, is the piece we miss out on. Like the whole truth, which you're pointing to here, is not just being open and honest, but the whole truth also is my desires, my fears, yeah, the ugly stuff, but also what I would love. And really standing for that and speaking that out, expressing it, I think is the full breadth of authenticity. So I agree with you.
Yeah. Then Dori asks, Kai, have you ever asked your team how they perceive your doings all the time? Oh, good one. Do they value it? No, I haven't. Specifically like that, I haven't. And I will do it. And they're watching this webinar. Some of them, certainly Sina is. So I'm happy to bring that into the conversation. So I'm asking Sina now to put that on our task list. That's awesome. It's really good. Kai, have you ever asked? No, that was the one before. Jonas asks also. It's interesting. It's like questions to me. Yeah. Also from Jonas to Kai, to be precise, are you as demanding to others as you are to yourself? No, not all the time. With my internal judgment, yes, but not with my actions. So no, I'm not, and I don't want to be more demanding for other people. I actually want to be less or more accepting of who I am, and thereby also be more accepting to others. Doesn't mean that I want to take less action or anything, but like just accept myself more. Yeah, I think that was it. I fall back in my bad habits. So what should I do? Kai, I was doing a lot of things lately to get opportunities, and I enjoyed it really. But I have problems with neurodermitis, which is a skin sickness, I think, and I believe it comes from stress. I did a lot of comfort crushing and wanted to develop myself, and now when I reduce doing things, I have less stress. Who was asking that question? That will be very interesting. So I did a lot of comfort crushing. Already that word sounds pretty aggressive to me. Yeah, I wouldn't love to do comfort crushing. I hear that a lot in like self-development, application-based comfort zone crushing, and what are your thoughts, man? It doesn't feel. It doesn't.
I
feel
like
natural.
the idea of leaning into the edge of the comfort zone, like just 3 to 5%. That's all you really need. I think there's been some science on this too. Like if you too much is bad and too little is nothing grows. I forget where I heard or read that, but yeah.
Yeah, same in my experience.
Just keep leaning in, and it keeps. Yeah.
Then it actually becomes a part of you if you take too much of a leap really really fast. For me, at least, I go into this state, into this new identity for a short amount of time, and then I'm like,
you snap back out.
Yeah, like a rubber band, something. Yeah. At Kai, John, as a leader, we do all we take a lot of decisions, but how do you know when you don't have to take a decision and maybe let your people decide? Good one. Good one. Well, that's a good one.
So for me, there's the questions is the problem, which is often the case. And how do you know when you have to take a decision and when to let your people decide? I never have to take a decision, and my people never have to decide. So I think that, just lighten up a little bit on there being a right path and a right way. And if I don't get it right, then I'm not a good leader. I think the key is just like having the freedom to play. Do I feel like making the decision right now, or am I curious what would happen if I want to make a decision? So I'm going to ask them, or I was thinking to ask them. So you know what? I'm just going to make it. Just be flexible. Don't be so. The root of that question, I'm making an assumption. I'm not talking to this person, obviously. When I hear questions like that, and it's always like at the root of that, there's the belief that there's a right path.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, for me, I want to add like the intuition part as well. It's like I listen a lot to my gut, and the more I meditate or get into this understanding of listening to my body as well as a tool to guide me through life, oftentimes I can feel like that tensing up, and then I know it's actually now it's not true for me to go into this direction, and I really I often say I don't know what the right thing is to do right now. What would you guys think? And if it feels just right and fluent and flowy to take that decision, I'll take it. I'll just take it. Yeah.
For me, that's like a difference between a map and a compass. Like the question sounds like it was coming from looking for the map, and I think what you're saying, which perfectly fits with me, is like all you really need is a compass. Like if you can just tap into your own inner compass, you can figure it out moment by moment. It's cool.
Cool. I think right now we're at an hour. I just wanted to invite you guys to, if you have one last question, please feel free to ask us. And I just wanted to invite you to the convention next year, where John is going to be, where I'm going to have a lot of challenges from now until the end, and who I want to be, and what I really. Well, what we are creating already right now with the way we work together is really an open, vulnerable, amazing space where people really feel comfortable enough to get in touch with what they want and what they want to create. And we'll do that in Zurich in this week, in 16th and 17th. I think I can pop up a little offer, which is very professional of me. Just there you go.
I'd like to say a few things too about the convention.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to do so.
Yeah, I'm asking permission because you certainly didn't ask me to and aspire to. So, as Kai mentioned, I'm coming back to speak again this year, and my wife's going to be very, very pregnant with our first baby at that time. Seems kind of a crazy time to me to go across all around the world from LA. I'm also not being paid for this, and covered expenses, but that's it. So why am I doing it? I'm doing it because genuinely, the last convention I went to was the best event I've ever been to, and I say that because the people that create this event. I mean, you can see Kai is one of the most real and honest and people that you'll meet, and he's committed to even more of that. And not only is it him, but he creates and attracts a whole group of people to be on his team, and that is the energy of the whole event. And I love the kind of candidness of it and the authenticity of it, and the quality of the people that he brings as speakers, being able to connect with and engage with these people who are there. It's for being in this business, I've been to plenty of events where on the outside it looks like we're here to help you, but really it's all about the pitch and what can we sell you and da 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 da. And it just felt so good to be amongst people who were there and driven for service and really come from a heartfelt place and really wanted to make an impact and having an impact. And you'll see clips on the show reels of people saying about how great the weekend was. Everybody would have said the same thing if there was time for everybody to be on camera. It was that kind of energy. So that's why I'm going. That's why I'm leaving my pregnant wife here for 5 days, and I'm really looking forward to meeting lots of new faces and to being there, and to being 2 days this year instead of 1 day. There's going to be more time to go deeper with people, and I'm going to be staying an extra day to be there the day after as well, which I didn't do last time. So I can't wait, and it's easily worth the investment. If it's something you can get to and you're thinking about, just make it happen, and I look forward to being with you.
Thank you, man. Wow.
You're welcome.
I didn't know it was one of the best events you've been to. That's really cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One last question to wrap it up from Max, maybe. At John, how did your first coaching experience look like?
Is that a question for me?
Yeah.
How did my coach, as a coach or as a client?
Yeah, we can choose, man. Like whatever
We can
feels right.
choose.
Yeah.
Well, my first experience as a coach was very clunky and ridiculous, and it was I invited my 6 friends to be my clients for free, like first, like it was over 5 years ago now, and it was very, you could say, like old school. Hey, what are your goals? Cool. Let's come up with some affirmations and run around the house screaming them, and then whatever. It's just it was clunky and it was silly and it was the beginning.
That's
Um,
cool. I like that.
my first experience being coached was a 20 or 30-minute coaching session. I paid something like $1,000 for. I was like, shit, I'm just gonna hire the best coach, and it was she's still one of the best coaches I've ever worked with, Judy Mae Murphy, and she basically was like, call a BBC radio, say this, and you'll be on the radio, and then book this venue at this hotel, and then you're gonna run this event. All right, I'll talk to you in a week. Click. And I was like a deer in the headlights. And I called up the radio station. I said what she said to say. I was on the radio the next day, and I booked this venue for like $2,000 deposit in Central London at this 5-star hotel. And anyway, there's more to the story, but I ended up losing money on that deal. But it was the beginning, and and I was in action. So
I was like, that would be awesome if it would have filled the whole thing. I think just a real quick last one, John. What was the one thing you have taken with you from the lifestyle design convention and given it further? Or it could be also meant, what have you taken from your coaching? So I'm not sure. Because it says from this event. John, what was the one thing you have taken with you from this event and given it further? So it could be your coaching, could be the convention. I'm not sure what you meant.
Well, on the behind the scenes, the thing that I took from this event was that live coaching can be impactful for people. This is the first event where I basically just showed up on stage for 90 minutes. Like, I'm just here to coach. And I went one person at a time. And it's the first time I went all in and did that. And it was so much fun and so fulfilling for me. And I feel that it was impactful for the room. So what I took from that is that's something that that's a way that I can really serve people. I don't have to stand on a stage and be a preacher, but I can stand on the stage and I can facilitate dialogue and coach and do what I love to do mostly and have a lot of impact that way. So that was a big insight that I've taken with me, and that's affected my business and how I'm working. I've done a lot more of that since.
Yeah, and it was amazing. Like the feedback I got was like overwhelming that they liked this speech. Like by far they liked it the most because it was so interactive and they could really work with the group. And it's also something that I've seen as a trainer. It's just much better if you work with the group instead of just giving a presentation. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for taking the time. You people out there, thank you so much for, like, I've seen the conversation on the right side was like, and I always I read words and I was like, no, I want to focus on the conversation as well. So, but you've been having an amazing conversation on the right side. I'm so thankful. It's really amazing what webinars can do in terms of interactiveness. It's really cool for me to see also the challenging questions you ask me, guys. Really, thank you for that. And John, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm really grateful.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys.
Showing up so honest right here in front of everybody around the context of your convention. It's so bold, and it's just a fucking perfect example of why it's an awesome convention and why I'm going to be there, why they all should be here too.
Thank you. So, it was quite uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're here to be uncomfortable. Crushing the comfort zone. All right.
Bam.
And there we go. Okay, have an amazing evening. Thank you, everyone. We're going to finish this right now. Bye-bye. Have an amazing evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.